Hi folks, this is going to be my video about sunglasses for light sensitivity. I've had a long ongoing search for the perfect pair of sunglasses and I haven't really found them, but I've got kind of several options and I've been doing more of a DIY sort of approach where I've been using tinted window film and putting them over regular sunglasses and that's gotten me some pretty good results. Not thrilling, but I thought I'd show you my options and maybe something in there will be helpful for you.
So to start out with, these are my favorite pair so far. They're MF brand. I'll link all these below. And they are a smidge darker than standard sunglasses, and they're wraparound, and they've got this padded seal that blocks light from coming in at weird angles. Because I found these, which have an extra dark lens, but because the light can leak in from around the sides, it's almost worse because your pupils dilate trying to see through the dark lens, and then you can get blasted with unfiltered light from the side. So these did not work out well for me, and I don't really like them. I put kind of horse blinders on the sides with cloth tape for a while, but they looked weird. And these are too dark to really see much of anything in the shade, especially if you're going from full sunlight like into the shade, trying to read something, trying to look at your phone. They're just not very functional. The next option I went with is kind of a cheaper set of 3 motorcycle glasses, and they're really similar to the MF pair, but they're a little bit lower quality, but I got 3 of them for pretty cheap. So what I did is I took this window tinting film. This is NA05 is the model number from BioRythm Film, and I think that indicates that it allows 5% of visible light through, which isn't as dark as I was expecting, but it's still pretty dark. So what I did is I used regular tape. I think black electrical tape would work better, but I did a few layers of the blue tape. And then through the center, I've got 1 layer of the window tinting film, and I did a thin strip, and so I was able to lay it down without any bubbles. And so this gives me a view through the center. It's sort of like a tank setup, but it blocks the vast majority of the light where I don't really need to see it. So this, I can kind of see what I'm doing when I cross the street. It's not so dark that I can't see my phone or make out stuff in the shade, but it still blocks a really significant amount of light. So this is actually my favorite setup so far. I'll overlay a picture of what it looked like when I tried to do the whole lens. It just didn't work out very well because there's a lot of crackling, and you can see even here there's a little bit of a bubble. It's really hard to get the window film on a curved surface, so that's why the thin strips worked a lot better rather than trying to do the whole thing. With this one, I did the film on the top and the bottom, and then left a strip with just the regular sunglasses in the center. And these seemed like a good option in theory, but they're kind of irritating to be looking through because it's really obvious where that line is, and you can see on both sides of it, but it wasn't a good option, or I didn't like it. So with these, it's pretty easy to pop the lenses out. And so I'll show you how I applied the film to them. And then, maybe you can figure out what setup you like best. The nice thing is that that window film is a pretty ridiculous amount. So I can make several attempts on these, and I'll probably never run out of the window film. I could even potentially tint a window if I wanted to. But before I show you that, I'm going to show you my blue blocking glasses. I wear these in the evening, and they're great because the blue light is disruptive to melatonin production, and it's also the harshest part of the spectrum, I find. So it's nice to just take the strain off your eyes. And if I'm having trouble adjusting in the morning, sometimes I'll have these on for just a few minutes. But I do actually like to get kind of a blast of blue light unfiltered on my morning walks. I think that helps reinforce my circadian rhythm. But these are great in the evening. They're not terribly dark, but I'm not going to fiddle with them because they were kind of the pricier they were kind of expensive. So what I like to do is use the factory edge here so I can get a nice clean line. And this has a backing to it that you need to peel off before you apply it. So what I've been doing is using blue tape and securing it real firmly to the corner. There we go. So you can see it pulls away. I don't know what the trick is. I just do it a bunch of times and eventually it goes. So now, I don't know how well I'm going to do this because I'm kind of looking through the camera, but I got the lens here. And what I try to do is I take that factory edge, that's this one here, and then I'll curve the film and then lay it down and get it to touch in the center first. And then I'll work out from that center point. Oh, I laid it down real wonky. But I can still lift up the edges and adjust it if I get bubbles. And just gradually work my way out from that center to the outer edge. You might be able to do the whole thing if you used a heat gun or a hair dryer or something. I tried warming it up and it didn't really help, but I was just using like steam from a hot cup of water. So, okay, so this is kind of not the best. I think I could, if I cleaned off the lens, I think that would have gotten rid of the bubbles. But you can see it is pretty prone to leaving kind of wrinkles and bubbles. But I was able to get pretty good results, provided I didn't try to do more than a third of it at a time. So I could, for instance, lay this one down the center, probably without too much trouble, something like that. And then put tape over the top, the tops and bottom, and then leave kind of a window through the center. Has been the best option for me so far. If you don't mind the wrinkles, you could just do the whole thing. You could even do 2, maybe even 3 layers. 2 layers on top of sunglasses is already pretty dark. But if you wanted a pair for when you have a migraine and you can just barely make out doorways and windows, and it's something that you could, you know, open the refrigerator and it wouldn't be painful for you, then maybe a couple layers and don't even worry about the wrinkles would be fine. Once you get a setup you like, and let's just pretend that this doesn't have all those wrinkles in it, but the window film comes with a utility knife here, and I found coming from the other side and then watching it on this side did a pretty good job of just working away around the edge here, like that. And you don't want to angle the blade in, because otherwise you'll start to dig into your lens. But as long as you try to just run along that edge, I haven't had really any trouble with scratching the lenses or digging into them much. And then, of course, you just pop it back in. And most of these, I'm sure other glasses might be designed a little bit different, but most of them have sort of a plastic lip. And so if you push it in, back in there, and then push it down, it'll pop in. And when you pop them out, I've had good results with a little bit of outward pressure, you know, from the inside. And then if you can bend the plastic out and away a little bit, that allows you to pop it out. And then also sometimes a little bit of pressure either forward or backwards along the length of the lens is helpful. But it's hard to say. I have broken glasses in the past doing this. I didn't break any of these 3. But having a few extra pair is certainly nice because you definitely might break them. But I think the tank setup with opaque tape around the outsides really gives you the best of both worlds. You could probably do 2 layers and get it real smooth, and then do opaque tape around the rest of it, and that would give you a real good pair of migraine sunglasses. Because there wouldn't be any leakage, there'd only be a thin strip where you could see, but it would still be functional, and you can, look around. You probably, if you had 2 layers on top of sunglasses, you wouldn't be able to read things. Maybe you could tell the time from your phone, but even going out and about, it would still be pretty dark. And again, they just look like regular sunglasses when you got them on. So if you want something that's a little more discreet, these would be a good option. There are also big overlay glasses that you can get, if you were to go to the optometrist or whatever, that you can put over a regular pair of glasses. So for example, if you want the blue blocking glasses, but you wanted some additional filtering, then maybe something like that would be good for you. I wanted something a little more subtle that I could just take out and about, and it was just a regular pair of sunglasses. So I think these are my favorites so far. I'm probably gonna remake them with black electrical tape on this third pair. And I might try different variations, but I think this setup is my favorite so far.
So as an afterthought, I thought I'd mention some of the other ideas I've had or options I'm going to try out. I'm going to try putting a fairly thick strip right through the center on a pair, and then do the upper and lower portions with 2 layers of the tinting, because I think having that line isn't going to be a big deal if I can get it pretty much all the way up and pretty much all the way down. So I'm going to see how thick of a strip I can lay down with no bubbles. I also wanted to mention that if you're just going for super dark migraine glasses, you probably don't even have to pop the lenses out, because if you lay down 2 layers of it, then you're not even going to be able to see the bubbles, because you'll hardly be able to see through it anyways, because it'll be so dark. So if that's what you're going with, you could just lay the film down and then try to cut around the edges, hopefully without scratching the lenses too much. But if it's going to be a super dark, active migraine sort of pair of glasses for staggering around the house, then it's not going to be a big deal if you have those wrinkles and bubbles. Those really only show up if you're kind of out in bright light and you're actually trying to discern objects and read things and stuff like that.
So that's pretty much all I got for you. Hopefully it's been helpful, and best of luck to you.